The last topic in my video series is rent-to-own scams. As a person who has done many rent-to-own transactions, I can guarantee you that for you to have a rent-to-own transaction, you will need an assistance of a real estate agent. From many standpoints, because during the real estate transaction, you need to navigate appraisals, you need to navigate inspections, legal paperwork, your escrow account where your option fee is being or your down payment is being held. If you don't understand all of those components, chances of you being taken advantage of during the rent-to-own transaction is very, very high. So let me talk to you about scams that I see in the marketplace. The biggest scam that I see in the marketplace truly is from small-time investors who flip a house in such a bad way that it's in a very poor shape, means foundation is broken, pipes are leaking, AC is barely working. They cannot sell it in a regular market to a traditional buyer, so they advertise it as a rent to own at a ridiculous price. The problem with those, and they indeed can issue a rent to own paperwork. The problem with those homes is that typically, if you do an inspection on a home like that, it will come up as a horror story. The home is just not a good purchase, it's a lemon. So to avoid that situation, work with an experienced real estate agent who can guide you through an inspection, but also visibly when you walk through the house. An experienced real estate agent will be able to tell you this home has foundation issues. I can smell mold. I see cracks in walls. I see misaligned windows. And an experienced real estate agent will be able to basically very quickly assess the situation and tell you that this may be a very bad investment. So that's one of the ways that you can get scammed. You can get sucked into a house that costs so much to maintain that you don't even want that house. Number two, I see it a lot on Facebook Marketplace and people basically popping up saying, how would you like rent to own? Be careful. I'm not saying that all of those posts or all of those people on Facebook who contact you and say, how would you like a rent to own is a scammer, because I myself sometimes ask people on Facebook how, if you're looking for rent, have you considered rent to own? But just be aware that on Facebook, this is a no rules land. And there are many scammers who say, oh, this home is for a rent to own. All we need you to submit a deposit. And it's kind of like an advanced fee scam where you send them a deposit in a first month's rent. And when you show up to pick up the key, there's nobody there. You've basically been scammed. They took your money, but they actually don't have, the house is not their own. And I don't know who perpetrates those scams, but I have seen a lot of them where typically the typical signs of the scam is the owner is in another state. The owner has no ability to call you directly or no ability to meet you. You do meet with somebody who is saying that they're their agent. They walk you through the house and they explain to you that it's a rent to own. The process of qualification is very easy. They do not check your credit. They don't do a lot of stuff. They sign a rent to own paperwork with you and they ask you to send a deposit and the first month's rent. And typically that's the last time you've seen any of those people and your money as well. How to protect yourself from that kind of a scam goes back to working with an agent. As soon as you encounter somebody online saying that they have a rent to own opportunity for you, say, that's wonderful. Do you mind if you speak with my real estate agent? In 90% of the time, they will resist that. They will say, we don't want agents involved. We don't want to pay no fees or something like that. If they say we don't want agents involved because we don't want to pay any fees, say that's wonderful. I will pay my own agent fees. You don't need to worry about it. Do you mind meeting with my agent to go over the rent-to-own contract? If there is still a resistance to them meeting with your agent, you're definitely dealing with somebody who are not interested in any additional scrutiny. And I do not recommend corresponding with them, no matter how cute or attractive the property is. So that's the second way of getting scammed. Third way of getting scammed is homeowners who have no intention to actually sell the house. So what sometimes happens, I have not personally seen it, but I have observed it through other people, is the homeowner says it's rent to own, and let's just say that the rent is over $1,000, what a rent normally would be, and your month and your deposit is pretty high. Let's just say 5, 7, 10K. You start to rent to own, and then you sign a contract written by, of course, your landlord. And then when it's time for you to actually apply for a home to transfer it in your name, they said that you violated some provision of the contract. And because you violated some provision of the contract, you cannot purchase the home. They will not sell it to you. And as a result, you forfeit your deposit, you lose your deposit, and you lose all of that time and money that you spent renting on a home. That's another way of being involved in a rent-to-own scam. That's about all I can think about. So in my personal opinion, as soon as you decide that you're going to do a rent-to-own or purchase a home through seller financing or purchase a home by taking over somebody else's loan, immediately your very first act should be to contact a real estate agent who is experienced in those kind of transactions and say, how do you advise that I protect myself from scams? And then go from there. My name is Elena Garrett. So I specialize in creative financing, means seller financing, rent to own, taking over somebody else's mortgage. All of those scenarios are very, very familiar to me. I am an investor myself. I understand those transactions both from a renter standpoint and from the investor standpoint. If you're interested and you're serious about this process and securing a property without losing your money in a process to a scam, or without ending up with a lemon of a house, feel free to call me. My phone number will be below. We will meet in person. We will discuss your needs. I will try to create a likely, like the most likely outcome for you in terms of your monthly payment, how quickly you'll be able to get into a house, and then we can take it from there. If I'm not available, let's just say you're in a different part of Texas, reach out to somebody in your marketplace who really, really, really understands the legal and the financial implications of all of those methods, renting to own, seller financing, or subject to an existing loan. Talk to them, ask about pros and cons, different scams, different ways to lose money, test their knowledge, make sure that then they themselves are whom they say they are, and then follow their advice. That's it for now. I think that concludes actually my mini series on rent to own in North Texas in 2025. It was a pleasure being with you. And if you need to go back to any part of my video series, just go back to that video, rewatch it again, and call me with any questions. See you later.